Okay, so for questions 35 through 40, we are going to perform operations on complex numbers. For number 35, we are just adding the two numbers together. So therefore, I just add the real parts and add the imaginary parts. So 3 plus 5 and 2i plus negative 7i. So 3 plus 5 is 8. 2i plus negative 7 is negative 5i. So my answer is 8 minus 5i. For number 36, I'm multiplying. Whenever you have two parentheses sitting next to each other, as this one is, you are literally just going to multiply. But since you have a binomial, you're actually going to FOIL this. So first, outside, inside, last. You could also use the box method for it. It doesn't matter which one you want to go with. But if you go with FOIL, we do 5 times 1, which is 5. 5 times negative I, which is negative 5i. Negative 6i times 1, which is minus 6i. And negative 6i times negative I, which is positive 6i squared. Now to simplify this, you should know that I squared is equal to negative 1. So therefore here this I squared is actually going to be 6 times negative 1, which is actually negative 6. So if I write this out, I'm going to have 5. I'm going to combine the like terms of negative 5i and negative 6i to get negative 11i. And then this is going to change to negative 6. And now I can combine 5 minus 6. 5 minus 6 is negative 1 minus 11i. So that is your final answer. 37, you're going to do the same thing. First, outside, inside, last. So 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times positive 2i is positive 16i. Negative 2i times 8 is negative 16i. And negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4i squared. Again, you know that I squared is negative 1. And in this case, 16i and negative 16i cancel out. So you have 64 minus 4 times negative 1. 4 times negative 1 is actually negative 4, a negative, and a negative cancel out to make a plus. So it's actually 64 plus 4. And 64 plus 4 is 68. In this case, the imaginary parts cancel out, and you are left with just a real part. Number 38, you have to actually FOIL as well. That will give you 2 minus 7i times 2 minus 7i. And again, if you FOIL those, you'll be left with 4 minus 14i minus 14i plus 49i squared. Again, I squared is equal to negative 1. So therefore, you now are going to combine like terms. 4 minus 28i plus 49 times negative 1. 49 times negative 1 is negative 49. So I'm going to have 4 minus 28i minus 49. 4 minus 49 is negative 45. So my answer is negative 45 minus 28i. For number 39, in order to simplify this, you do not want an imaginary part on the bottom of the equation. So therefore, you are going to multiply by the complex conjugate of 2i. In this case, the complex conjugate of 2i is going to be negative 2i. So you're going to multiply by negative 2i on both the top and the bottom. So if I do that, I'm going to be left with negative 4i squared. And on the top, I'm going to be left with negative 14i. Negative 4i squared, again, I squared is equal to negative 1. So it's negative 14i over positive 4. Because negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. If you wanted to, you could now take out a 2 from both of those, and you would be left with negative 7i over 2. And finally, for the last one, number 40, you again are going to multiply by the complex conjugate of negative 3i. Negative 3i. And when you do that, you'll be left with negative 9i squared on the bottom. And now you have to distribute the negative 3i to both the 2 and 7i. So it would be negative 6i minus 21i squared. And in this case, you have to simplify the 21i squared. And the I squared, remember again, is negative 1. So it's negative 6 minus 21 times negative 1 over, again down here as well, negative 9 times negative 1. Simplify that a little bit more. Oh, forgot my eye there. And you will see that negative 21 times negative 1, that's actually going to be a positive 21 minus 6i over a positive 9. And that is your final answer. You could actually go forward and simplify that a little bit more for number 40. And you could take out a 3 from all of those and simplify it to 7 minus 2i over 3. And that's the answer that you will actually see in your semester review packet answer key.